How to save money on palm tree removal. This episode is a big one. If you have palms and you're looking to remove, these are a few sort of insider tricks that you might not have thought of in relation to saving money on getting professional palm tree removal carried out on your property. So the biggest factor, after obviously the size of the palm tree itself, is access to the palm. So have a look at these two images. If you're only listening, we have a palm tree, a date palm on the left of the screen, which is in the front yard. That's right next to the street. Very easy access. There's lots of room to work, as opposed to a smaller date palm, probably about half the size, in the back corner of a backyard with no rear access. Only access is via a side gate. It's growing into some wires. It's got obstacles all around it. It's going to be a lot more difficult to remove. So this is a cost factor because time is money. You're going to need a lot more manpower and time to get the, although relatively smaller palm tree on the right hand side taken down, cut up, lugged out the front and taken away, as you would on the left hand side. Even though it is a slightly larger tree, it can be taken down and removed a lot quicker. So this is a very big factor. The more palm trees you have that need removing, the more this factor is amplified. So giving good rear access is key if it is possible. So for example, if you don't have a driveway that leads to your backyard, maybe your neighbor does. Maybe you've got a paling or timber fence or colorbond fence, PVC fence, where you can take out a section of that fence. Ask your neighbor if the tree service or gardener can get access via their property and get it removed that way. It is going to literally save you hundreds of dollars, because it's going to save the company lots and lots of time. So here's an example of good access: big wide driveway, a truck and chipper or a pickup can be reversed right at the back, and it just makes the carry distance a lot shorter, as opposed to a side gate where you've almost got to walk sideways just to get through it. Everything's got to be lugged by hand or in wheelbarrows out the front. It's just going to cost a lot more money. So secure better access so the contractor can get his equipment nice and close to the tree. Okay, next up is the cost of disposable. Just a quick explanation: unlike regular trees, palm trees aren't actually timber. They're kind of like a soft, spongy. They might feel hard to touch, but they're just full of water. They're actually, biology-wise, a lot closer to a grass than they are a tree. They're called a monocot, so they don't have a woody stem on the inside with living tissue on the outside. The whole trunk is living tissue with the phloem and xylem, which feeds from the roots to the top, runs through the center of the tree. They don't have tap roots, they've just got fibrous roots, that type thing. The main problem with them is they're very acidic. So they cannot be run through a chipping machine or a mulching machine. Technically they can be, but because of the acid levels, they do rust the inside of the machine a lot quicker. So tree services are very hesitant to put them through. And they can't be spread as mulch on the garden, so there's no real reason to put them through. A tree service cannot re-chip them. They literally have to be taken to a dump site and dumped as general waste, not even green waste, general waste, which can become quite expensive. So this is probably 40 to 50% of the cost of palm removal is taken up in dumping fees. If you can mitigate those dumping fees by asking for removal without cutting the palm away, that is going to save you a lot of money. So some alternatives to having it cutted away is the city cleanup. Most cities and local councils each year have a cleanup where people can put general waste on the front curb, and the city will take it away free of charge. If you can line up your palm removal with one of these city cleanups, you're going to save yourself hundreds of dollars in dumping fees, and you're going to get a lot cheaper price off your palm tree removal service. So you'd probably ask them for two prices. You'd ask them for a price to cut the palm trees away and lug them away, cut them down and lug them away. You'd ask for another price to cut them down, cut them up, and stack them out the front of your place. You'll find, per palm tree, it might be, $60 per palm, but if you've got 10 palm trees, we're talking $600, so it's a lot of money. But again, it is via weight, so it depends on the size and volume of the palm. Another alternative, if you don't have a cleanup that's coming up soon, but you want to get rid of them, same deal, get two quotes, ask them to cut it up into pieces, and you can dispose of it in your general rubbish bin just over the next couple of weeks. You can also, an extra sneaky way is once everyone's put their rubbish out for the night, which most, if you live in suburbia, most people do generally before it gets dark, you can go down the street with a wheelbarrow, check if there's any room in people's bins, and just add a bit of palm to the top of their bins. The palm logs can be cut up into 1 foot pieces that are easily handled, and you just stack them in people's bins. You can get rid of it in one go. It's a little bit of extra work, but a dollar saved is a dollar earned, and you can save hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Next up, hire a gardener and not an arborist. So this is an arborist. They are specially trained for tall trees, difficult trees, large removals. This is their equipment. They've got a huge truck and chipper. They're all highly trained. Insurance is really expensive, not just for the equipment, but for public liability insurance and workers' compensation, which is about 9% on top of wages. That's where a lot of the expense for tree removal comes in. People usually jump up and down about the price. I know it is expensive. I'm coming from experience. I ran a tree service for the best part of 10 years. The overheads are huge. If you have a tree that is smaller than about 15 foot, anything about 10 foot high, so smaller palm trees, you can get a gardener in to do the job. Gardener, lawn mowing type company. This is what they look like. This is their equipment. They generally have public liability insurance, but it's way less than an arborist because they're not doing really dangerous jobs, and smaller palms they are able to handle, and they're going to be a lot cheaper. Now, next up, I want to talk about how you're searching for your local tree service. This is going to save you tons of money. So when you go and do a Yelp search, Yellow Pages, Google, you're going to get a list of results. Without fail, the top results of people, Friendly Fred's Tree Service or your local palm tree specialist, whoever they are, if they're at the top of the results, they're generally paying a premium to be there, and that premium, it's quite excessive. Even if they appear not in the ads of Google results, but naturally in the natural part, the organic part is what it's called in Google results, they're generally paying a company to get them in that organic part. You're talking hundreds, in a lot of cases thousands of dollars a month to get noticed and to get seen. If you are finding a company easily, more often than not they are paying more to be there. They're promoted by the company. That's why these huge companies like Yellow Pages make their money. They charge these people for the extra traffic. They're going to pass that on to you. So a big tip is to obviously still look for an arborist, a qualified arborist. But I'm telling you, there's some great arborists on page 2, 3, and 4 of Google results, or right down the bottom of Yellow Pages and Yelp. This is not an exact science. You do get some companies that work on large turnover. They might charge a reasonable price. They're at the top of Yellow Pages and they just churn through the jobs. But more often than not, it's a small to medium sized company. Because they get a larger volume of calls and quotes, they do those quotes, and they've just got a different way of selling their business. They get the same amount of work, they just charge more for it. So what you don't want to be doing is calling the first 3 companies and choosing between 3 expensive quotes. So you're getting the best of a bad bunch. Maybe call one of them if you'd like to compare, or one or two, and then get one or two at the bottom just to see the difference that I'm talking about. So that's it for this video. You can actually, through GoTreeQuotes, we are a free service. We get previous customers to vote on who was the best price local tree contractor. So if you request a palm removal price through us, we're going to be matching you with what we've been told right now are the cheapest tree services. I say right now because tree services prices do fluctuate. For example, just quickly, if a tree service has a lot of work on it, they're booked a month in advance, generally small businesses will start handing out more expensive quotes. They need to slow the work down so they can catch up. The best way to do that is to hand out more expensive quotes. They still do book in the odd job, but once they sort of get it down to 2-3 weeks in advance, then they start handing out regular prices again. If a company's only got 2-3 days in advance, they'll generally start handing out fairly cheap prices. There's ebbs and flows to everyone's company. A good example of that is in winter. Tree companies just don't have a lot of work on in winter. So if you can save your job for a city cleanup in winter, company at the bottom yellow pages, you're going to be saving a lot of money. We have real-time data on who's handing out cheap prices. Generally, companies we only work with companies who don't have a lot of work on at the time. So we vet all companies, make sure they're insured, and that type thing. But if a company's got a month's worth of work booked in advance, they don't ask us for any customers. So if they are short on work, generally they'll come to us. Chances are they're handing out cheaper prices, and we also communicate with customers, ask who was cheap, ask who was expensive, ask who was nice, ask who was not. Whoever wasn't so nice we don't work with anymore, and we just forward you on. We try and match you with the best priced local contractor. So it's a free service. You've got no obligation to hire. We're not affiliated as such with the companies. We have no we do charge the companies for the leads, full disclosure, but we're not affiliated as such, so we've got no hand in the pie. We don't care who gets the job. The one that does the best job keeps getting work from us. So that's how we operate. Look, that's all from me. Best of luck with your palm tree removal job. This is Ben.